Hey guys, how are you doing? I hope that you're all staying safe and connected with the current quarantine and corona situation around the world. I don't know if it has any direct correlation to that, but for whatever reason, I got a whole surplus of messages and emails coming from you asking me questions. When I looked over the emails and the messages, there were three main topics that you wanted me to address. So I thought to just come here quickly and answer your questions. The first topic that you wanted me to address is the growing phenomena of nofap or no masturbation. So now just to make clear, I'm not an expert and I don't really know the movement very well. So I went to YouTube and just watched some of the first videos that came up. So my response or whatever I'm saying coming with this knowledge in mind. If I miss something or misrepresent something, feel free to inform me, I would love to know. So from what I caught up with these videos, from what the guys were sharing, is that while they were masturbating, they were feeling ashamed, disconnected, dirty. They were feeling that there is not a lot of power and energy in their life, and they were quite depleted. And since they stopped masturbating, they saw a tremendous change in their life. They are more energetic, they are more connected, there's more creativity and inspiration in their life. Now, in my practice and what I teach, I would actually recommend you to masturbate or to self-pleasure at least 5 times a week. But you see, the devil is in the details. What I'm talking about when I'm talking about self-pleasuring, it's probably very different from what those guys were talking about when they were talking about their masturbation. Because when you masturbate, you also ejaculate. And here's the catch. If you stop ejaculating, you experience all these benefits. Because when you ejaculate, you are literally spilling out life force energy out of your body. And when you stop ejaculating, all this energy starts to go under pressure and you feel more alive, more buoyant, more creative, more connected. There is more virility, more masculinity within you, and you can conquer the world with that energy. So basically all that happened is that those guys that were probably, I'm assuming, were used to ejaculate every time that they masturbate, stop ejaculating, and now they're starting to feel the benefits of putting your sexual energy to work and under pressure. There is always, even if you're not practicing, a small percentage of sublimation of the energy, where the sexual energy just needs to move and it goes somewhere else and energize a different aspect of your personality. Now, like I said before, the devil is in the details. And there's actually quite major problems and medically proven issues that comes when you stop masturbating or go celibate altogether. And again, I'm not a medical doctor, so please do your own research and look. But from whatever I read and the research that I've seen, people that stopped masturbating or stopped ejaculating altogether, it was more specifically around ejaculation, have a greater chance of getting testicular cancer. And it's because when you don't use the equipment stops to work. So you might say to yourself, okay, but didn't you just said a moment ago that you're teaching people how to stop ejaculating, and now you're saying that if you stop to ejaculate, you might get testicular cancer? So the trick is that if you stop ejaculating, but you keep the machine oiled, you keep it running, you keep everything working, you work with your sexual energy, you move it up, you keep on producing sperm and reabsorbing it into your body, then there's no problem. All of those studies has not been on people that are practicing tantra or sexual yoga, but rather on regular people. And with this kind of practice, with this simple celibacy without a spiritual practice connected to the celibacy, there could be all kind of medical issue and psychological issues. I mean, we all know this kind of cliche saying that when you see somebody which is really happy and buoyant, you ask, hey, what happened? You just got laid? And vice versa, when somebody is really neurotic and uptight, like we tend to say, my God, this person is so uptight, he just needs to get laid. And you know that will move the energy. Because when we're not moving the sexual energy, everything becomes stagnant and just stale. So the point here is that no, I do not recommend to stop masturbating altogether. But I also don't recommend to keep on ejaculating every day. That's also not beneficial. There is a way that you can stop ejaculating, sublime this energy, keep on being sexually active, enjoy full body ecstatic orgasms, and that will bring more buoyancy, more energy, more confidence, more masculinity, more creativity. And maybe the most important, at least from my perspective, from a spiritual perspective, it will bring you more inspiration, more spiritual inspiration, and it will help you to take your meditation deeper and farther. Another point that came across to me when I was listening to these different guys talking about their non-masturbation practice was that there was a lot of shame involved. It seems that there was a lot of very negative sexual cultural conditioning. And I don't blame them. We live in a very sexually repressed society. I mean, I know that everything is hyper-sexualized, but we also shame sexuality quite a lot. So, like, when you think about it for a second, when you masturbate, let's say you're sitting in your bedroom and you're pleasuring yourself and you hear your parents or you hear your girlfriend comes back home. What do? Do you stay there on the bed, keep on pleasuring yourself, waiting for her to come in and say, "Hey honey, how are you doing?" "Yeah, I was just pleasuring myself, I'm having a great time." I mean, probably not. If you do, that's great, but I assume not. This is usually, "Oh my God, somebody's coming." And you go under the cupboard or you just stop really quickly and you hide and you go to shower. We are being conditioned all the time to hide our sexual activity, to think that it's a very private thing and we should be ashamed of it. You don't want to, see her, you just masturbate and you ejaculate. It's all very creepy. But why? Like, you are touching yourself, you're doing something beautiful, you're connecting, you're having pleasure. So at least from my perspective, it seems that there was a lot of just negative beliefs around sexuality, how dirty and impure it is. And now that they stop doing this dirty thing, they feel virtuous. I believe that a much better approach would be to address all of those negative conditioning and inhibitants and finding a way which is much more free, much more embracing your sexual energy to go beyond this compulsive need to ejaculate. The second topic that you asked me to address is another growing movement that actually helps men to deal with their addiction to pornography. So I want to mention that, addiction to pornography is very real and it's a big issue. It's something that a lot of people are suffering from. And I personally believe that it's not so much the addiction to pornography, rather the addiction to technology and the way that we consume pornography today. I mean, if you think about 20, 30 years ago, when you had a VHS tape and you needed to find it in the house, probably it was hidden somewhere, like, consuming pornography was much more difficult. And now we have it on the tip of our fingers. We have it on our phone. If it's Tinder, if it's Tumblr, if it's Pornhub, like, it's very accessible. And we see that it does have some negative effects on the brain. We are being hooked on dopamine and we're constantly just looking for more and more excitement. Also in your sex life and in the bedroom, there is all kind of issues and problems that an overconsumption of porn can contribute to. Things like erectile dysfunction, premature ejaculation, feeling of disconnection or problem to get aroused. And maybe more related to the sexual yoga practice, it is actually very, very important that if you are going on this journey of doing a sexual spiritual practice, and as a man you're trying to learn how to separate orgasm and ejaculation and start to experience full body orgasms that can take you to very deep states of consciousness and meditation, you don't want to watch porn while you're doing this practice. It's really gonna sabotage your work. You're gonna put a lot of energy trying to learn all these things and putting your effort, and then you're gonna shoot yourself in the leg by watching porn and messing your brain altogether. Now, after I said this, I want to make very clear that I personally don't have anything against porn. I actually really like porn. I think that porn could be very beautiful, very connected, very uplifting. I think that you can learn a lot from porn, and for some people I would actually really recommend to watch it. Because it's not what you do, it's how you do it. And anything in moderation could be beneficial. And also, good things, if you overdo them, can harm you. Pornography, in many ways, is an incredible way to search and discover your fantasies. And it's a very safe way to try to do it. Now, of course, there might be all kind of issues with the industry and how does the porn is being produced. And we're not going into this right now, but those things are individual issues that could be addressed, and they're not the issue of porn itself. Even more than this, there is a lot of people that are working in the porn industry or sexual workers that are very proud in what they're doing. They enjoy what they do. Not all porn is degrading. And also some sexual activities that might look degrading to you could be very uplifting and liberating for the people that are practicing them. As I said, I think that porn could also be very educational. Now, we don't want teenagers to learn how to have sex or how to make love from porn videos unless we're gonna really upgrade the level of porn that we're producing. But the problem is that in the culture today, we kind of like repress sexual education. I mean, I know that you have sexual education in school where they show you how to put a condom on a banana, but this is not sexual education. I know that sexual educators today are actually really struggling. People like Christopher Lovestone that just wrote this amazing book that I highly recommend called The Conscious Cock is sexual education that I would definitely recommend to teenagers and people that are starting to engage sexually, as well to people that have been sexual for many years and want to know more. But he faced a lot of challenges because Sesta Festa and the current situation around social media that do not allow us to use sexual content. So in one hand, we are bombarded with hypersexualized images from movies and commercials, but when we want to give good, clear sexual education, we're not allowed to talk about it and we're getting blocked. So in my opinion, what we need to do is a whole process of reconditioning and educating ourselves around sexuality, which in turn will change our relationship to all of those things. I mean, the reason that porn is so heavily consumed is because it's taboo, because it's in some way forbidden and dirty. And we already know, we've seen it through history, prohibition never works. So if we find ways to normalize sexuality, it will become less of a thing. People will not be so attached and look for it in every corner. And like I said, if you are suffering from an addiction, if watching porn is harming your life, harming your relationship, if you're just hooked on this dopamine addiction, definitely cut porn out, put it aside, deal with the issue, find one of those support groups. It could really shift things for you. And I am talking from a personal experience. I was really addicted to porn for many years. When I was going through my 20s, I think I would masturbate maybe 7 times a day. It was crazy. And it took me time to shift and recondition myself to change my relationship to sexuality and to porn so I can have a healthy relationship with it. Today, I still enjoy watching porn once in a while. I actually even do it with my partner, and we get off on it and have fun. But we do it in a way which feels connected and doesn't harm us in our life in any way. And adding just one more but over there. If you are on the path of sexual yoga, if you are using your sexuality as your spiritual practice, if you are trying to learn how to separate orgasm and ejaculation and have full body orgasms, in this period of time when you are still learning how to master the practice, really avoid porn like the plague. You don't want to mess with it because it's really going to be counterproductive. But later on, when you're really accomplished and you're very solid in your practice, you have good direction, you have good orgasm, you have good, profound, deep meditation with your sexual practice, you can slowly start to introduce porn again in a moderate and healthy way. Which brings me to the third question that a lot of you wanted to know, and that was, when is the next time that the Tantric Men's Sexual Mastery Program will be open to enrollment? So, to be honest, I didn't really plan to open it anytime soon because I'm quite busy with a whole bunch of other projects, and whenever this program goes online, it's a 3 months live program. I mean, the videos are pre-recorded, but I do live Q&As every week, and I'm very available to all the group of people throughout the process. And I really like to just have a group of people starting and finishing the whole process in the same time. But as there is a lot of requests, and I also understand that it might have to do something with the current situation of the quarantine and Corona or whatever not, I decided to, for a limited time, to just open the course for enrollment. So until another announcement or anything like this, the course from a couple of days from now will be open, and you can just enroll and start practicing from that moment. There will be no a certain date that you have to wait in order to actually start your practice. In this format, because we're not going to have a set group, I'm not going to do the weekly Q&A videos, but I will be available for emails and in some cases also voice messages if it's a very complicated question. If there will be a bunch of questions on the same topic, I might still do a video, but I cannot commit for that at the moment. If you want to see more details on the course or what is it about, you can go to the website tantriclife.com and check out the Tantric Man Sexual Mastery Program. Alright guys, that's it. I hope I managed to answer some of your questions. If you enjoyed this video, like it. If you loved it, sub. And if you have more questions, please write it below in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.